John Lusk here of Lusk Archery Adventures. Series testing, successful hunting. Today I'm going to be testing a new head by VPA. It's actually a new collab by VPA and Archery Country. Okay, Archery Country is a really nice archery shop in Austin, Texas, and they've come up with this collab that's really got a lot of upside. It's called the Hole Punch, and it comes in three different models, three different weights, 100, 125, and 150, three different sizes. But man, it's got a lot of cool things going for it. So I'm eager to put it to the test, and I'm going to be using my regimen for 2025. And for a detailed description of that, please check out the video that I posted earlier this year called 2025 Broadhead Test Process. For most of the shooting, I'm using my Elite Carbon Eon bow that, man, is just my favorite in the last many years. And for the flight testing, I'm using my Killer Instinct LogiX 435 crossbow. For all the shooting, I'm using Bishop Archery, arrows and bolts because they're just top tier. All right, let's zoom on in here and check out this hole punch and then put it to the test. Here's a good look at this AC VPA hole punch broadhead. Now this is the 100 grain model. They also have a 125 grain model and a 150 grain model. And here's a pretty crummy, unfocused look at both of those. But in the future, I'll be testing these as well, the 125 grain and the 150 grain. They have different dimensions as well, but today I'm focusing on the 100 grain. First of all, let me start with the materials. It's machined out of a single piece of S7 tool steel, and it's brought to a Rockwell hardness of 50 to 52. In terms of the dimensions, the length, by my measurements, is under 0.8 inches. It's like 0.78 inches. So one of the shorter profile broadheads on the market should just aid in flight and penetration through some mediums. As for the cutting diameter, in this 100 grain model, it's 1 1/8 inches, pretty standard for a 3-blade, one-piece machined head. 1 1/8 inches this way, or 1.125 inches. And then the diameter of these smaller blades, you notice there's an extra blade in between each of the other two. The cutting diameter of those is just over half an inch, 0.543 inches. So the total cut, even in this small little broadhead, comes out at about 2.5 inches. That's a lot of cut for such a small, compact head that's under 0.8 inches long. Really impressive. And then the thickness of the blades, by my measurements, is right at 0.050 inches thick. And you also notice that it uses this black oxide coating just to help it be a little more weather resistant. And as for resharpening, you can use any flat edge and just lay it flat and sharpen it like that. I would use the Stay Sharp Guide diamond plate, and then you can just use varying degrees of coarseness for the diamond plates and put a nice edge on it. Really eager to put this head to the test and see how it performs. The hole punch got the 9 ring. It took 252 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 9.48 on a 10-point scale. Yes. It penetrated 9 inches. I know it may not look like that because of the way the camera's aligned, but that is the penetration, 9 inches. And I want to show you the entrance hole here. This is the initial impact. You can see the 3 larger cuts from the main blades and then the 3 smaller cuts from the blades in between. That's really cool to see that kind of a wound channel being opened up. It only took an additional 7 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 9.86 on a 10-point scale. It penetrated through 55 layers, which is a 7.86 on a 10-point scale. That's pretty good given that total cut size. The head is in pristine condition after the 3 shots through the MDF. Here it is after the 2 shots through the steel plate, and man, you cannot even tell that broadhead has been shot, except maybe some cosmetic scratching, but I don't even see much of that. I mean, those edges are just perfectly intact, as is the point. And then in terms of holes, man, those are just like perfect triangular cutouts. I think those are the most triangular cutouts I've ever seen in a steel plate like this, and a shot through a steel plate. And you can see in the center of each of the sides those extra cuts that are taking place, and those little smaller blades that are pushing the steel plate out and cutting it. And that just gives you a glimpse of what kind of hole is really going to be punched in a game animal, hence the name hole punch. It really is punching a hole. That's really impressive. Here's a good look at this head after all the durability testing, and man, it's just passed everything with flying colors. It did extremely well on the MDF and on the steel plate and on the cinder block alike, and really penetrated quite deeply into that. Still has a decent edge to it. You can tell that S7 tool steel combined with the geometry just makes this like one of the more durable heads on the market. It didn't show any real signs of wear after any of the durability tests, so it gets an extra 2-point bonus for that. Very impressive durability here. So what'd you think? Man, there's a lot of good upside to this broadhead. I'd say it did so well in every one of the tests. The only downside a little bit is its sharpness, but that doesn't bother me. I would hunt with it just as it is. No kidding. It's hard to get sharper, like a 60-degree bevel, one-piece steel broadhead. It actually did fairly well out of the box, out of the package, for the sharpness that it had. But you could even get it sharper if you worked with it. But man, it just didn't have any real downsides. I just like this broadhead and would love to put it on the end of an arrow and stick it through a hog. So you check out the score sheet and see how it performed in the areas that matter to you the most, and see if this might be a good fit for you. And stay tuned for the cumulative score, as well as the corresponding Lusk grade. And stay tuned for a list of all the discount codes that I can offer, including VPA, just to save you some money. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next time.